Hey friends, my name's Georgie. I'm a breathwork and performance coach, helping people gain core confidence and come back to themselves through the power of the breath. It is a pleasure, as always, to have you listening into the Just Breathe podcast, where I'll be talking all things breathing to help empower you guys to use the power of your breath to harness your bodies and minds. Now, before I let you in on who I will be chatting with today, I wanted to share with you a course I'm running with the Oxygen Advantage. Most of you know I am a master instructor of Patrick McEwen's method. Patrick is, of course, the world's leading breath re-education expert. And on March 18th, I will be running the first female breathing course for the Oxygen Advantage. If you want to get more in touch with your menstrual cycle and learn how to self-regulate through each phase of the cycle, yes, there are different phases, 4 in fact, and we're going to learn all about them, then this course is for you. We're going to be learning about sports performance. Now, this is a big one. Your breath will always stop you before your legs do. Think about that for a moment. When you're running, when you're doing any kind of endurance sports, cycling, even walking or hiking perhaps, that breath, being breathless, is always going to stop you when your legs could have actually gone a little bit further. If you can learn to regulate the breath, you can take your fitness journey to the next level. Now, you might be sat there thinking that you're not a fitness kind of person. Well, let me tell you, by learning to regulate your breath, you can become a fitness kind of person. And who doesn't want to be that, right? Either way, if you're a PT, if you are a yoga teacher, if you are anyone in the wellness world, or anyone in general who wants to get more in touch with their own cycle or help other women become more in touch with theirs, then this course is for you. I've put the link to check out more information in the show notes. Now, it's about time I let you in on who I'm actually speaking to today, and it was such a pleasure to chat to this really inspiring woman. Today's conversation is with Rhiannon Bailey. Now, Rhiannon took everything she learnt in her professional dance training and career and transferred it over to the fitness world. She's now the head trainer at Get It Done. Get It Done is a really cool app and platform hosting live and on-demand workouts. They cover anything from HIIT to barre to strength and conditioning. They even throw in a couple cheeky nutrition tips. They really have got it all, and they will certainly help you to get it done. Now, you might know Rhiannon better as Daily Bailey. She became quite the Instagram sensation during the first lockdown when she hosted daily workouts and helped millions of people get moving during those really dark times of the pandemic. Rhiannon has such an infectiously sunny energy, and we got talking all about what it means to be well and to be mindful, and all about her philosophy of fitness, which is super, super simple, but super, super effective. And I will let her do the talking on that one. But it was a really, really powerful conversation, and I really hope you enjoy it. If you are looking for an uplifting, female-led conversation, you are in the right place. A little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Just Breathe podcast. Let's keep on building that strong, breathing community. The more people becoming inspired and empowered by the breath, the better. All right, let's crack right on with today's episode. I really hope you love it, and I know it's going to be an absolute jammy dodger of a conversation. My friend said that earlier, and I thought it was cool, so I thought I'd bring it into the intro. This is episode 56 of Just Breathe with Rhiannon Bailey. Rhiannon, how's it going? Hey.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for coming on the Just Breathe podcast. It is a pleasure to be just chatting to you and hear your story. I said before we started recording, I've been like, watching your journey, which sounds a little bit creepy actually, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, just admiring your rise to crazy sort of presence on Instagram through the pandemic, which has been incredible. So it's great to hear what it's all about.
Yeah. So yes, I guess it has been a bit of a whirlwind, but from my because when you're sucked into it, you don't really realize you're just going with the flow, you're setting up those foundations and you plod along, and then more and more people, well, that's the aim, more and more people find out about you, so you can actually reach more people. But yeah, essentially, I guess taking it back to the very, very beginning, I was that person who did all the live workouts like everyone else did. Initially, but I saw other people do it, and you know what? I'm so pleased I did it, because before I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's a lot of effort, isn't it, to do it every single morning? But I loved it. I absolutely loved having to be somewhere at a certain time, which other people also really appreciated, because obviously routine was out the window. So 8 a.m. every morning, my mum would be doing it with me, my sister would be doing it with me, and in that kind of way it made it more real as well. So like it encouraged a wider range of ages as well, so people not necessarily my age, actually in all fairness loads of people were like in their 40s and 50s, because my mum was doing it as well. So that was quite nice, and it just made it more of a inclusive experience for that way. But the biggest thing is just hearing people's responses. Like you do it, and like I said, you film yourself on a phone, you don't see anyone's reactions, but in a weird way you do feel an energy. And then when you get comments through saying, oh my gosh, Rhiannon, honestly, this has helped me boost my mood, I've been so low, I now have this energy, I've now found this new love of fitness. Because lots of people, it is one of those things that people do have a bad relationship with sometimes, and I guess through the pandemic people have realized the more fundamental reasons of why fitness is so essential, or moving your body. So fitness is something that I try and actually use less of. I like to say move your body, because that means it's more like, yes, okay, I love a HIIT workout, I love a sweaty workout, but then it's not the be all and end all. It's like I'm now exploring more of the yoga side, like even going for a walk. It just shows just how, like every single day, even breath work, like what you were saying, that is movement in your body. And I think it's just giving yourself that time to connect your mind and your body together, to find that sense of presence, because we can all get so caught up in the world.
Oh yeah.
Just committing to an hour or half an hour or 20 minutes for you, yourself and your mind does honestly it's done incredible things for me, and it's done incredible things for other people, so I'll never stop talking about how good it is.
Amazing. Yes, I mean, I love your energy, and that's why I think, you know, you've done so well in such an authentic way, because there's a lot of people trying to do what you're doing, of course, and it does make you wonder with the whole social media game, which in reality is a very new thing. Like, why do some people rise, and why do some people kind of just stay and kind of they get a few more followers and then they don't, and someone else got this huge community? And I really do think it comes down to this authenticity of this purpose beyond self, and this kind of playfulness of something people need to hear. But I mean, before we talk more about that, I do kind of want to rewind in terms of before this all started, what was going on, and what was kind of the moment? Were you literally just sat there one day going like, I've had enough of this, no routine thing? Or what were you doing before?
So before, my background is in dancing, so I've always had that fitness element in me, and I definitely took it for granted, because I never really found it a challenge to, for instance, do a class or do something like that, because it's always been, I have to be 8 a.m. ballet, ready to go every single morning. So I kind of had that drilled into me from a very, very young age. So I guess when the pandemic happened, obviously that all stopped. It was all quite a quick, like, cut of the cord kind of thing. And then we started, I guess, I've always done, like I did my PT qualification before, and I always knew that it's a really good thing to do alongside your fitness industry, because let's be honest, it's 6-month contracts here and there. What do you do in that mid-break? You can't have a contracted job. You have to always go for 0 contract hours. It was a stressful start to my career is all I'm going to say. Like, the amount of times I was living in London, paying ridiculous rent, only being able to do 0 contract hour jobs, and then you're getting auditions through, which then mean you can't work. Like someone's earning like £20 a week, and you're like, how do I do this? PT was obviously something that's really good, because you can do that and fit it around your own schedule, because you do it privately, which is what I did mostly, because it was a dream. It was just made life so much easier. So I guess those two marry in very well. So obviously, well, actually, in all fairness, I missed a massive chunk, in the sense of like, my actual importance of fitness actually probably started when I had my back operation, which is where, when I was in dancing, it was always through injuries. I feel like it teaches you so many lessons, doesn't it? Life lessons. Hate it at the time, but then when you look back, you're like, you know what, my mentality has strengthened because of it, and it's realized how important it is to have a strong foundation. And I feel like that's even, you can relate that if you haven't had an injury, whether you've got even growing up, going through menopause, that's also another area where you realize that if you don't set the foundations early on, you're only going to find it harder as you get older. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like going all over the place right now.
All over the place, as much as you like. I am enjoying it. But like, the back injury has significance. And you always find this with people that have a significant impact on others, is that they have been through some form of adversity themselves, be that mental, be that physical. They have had, you know, even the struggle, and girl, I know that feeling of like, okay, you know, £20 to work with this week. Okay. But then the next week you could book a 25 grand job, you know, and so it's like craziness. But there's a thrill to that. And, you know, just really relating to people through the fact that you're like, hey, my life is not perfect, because this is something on social media, especially for young people, teenagers just coming into, you know, the big wide world, to understand. And I was going to say, especially women, but, you know, boys equally for their reasons, that, you know, no one's life is perfect, and that whoever is looking at your profile, they are probably also wishing their life was like yours, as the profile you are looking at, that you wish your life was like theirs. You know, that not, it's a highlight reel of, and I know that is important to you. I've seen you, you know, actually really open up on Instagram with some days when you're not having such great days, when you are struggling, and being really honest that, you know, I may have this wonderful, you know, I'm sure everyone, I know at points I've started going, God, she's got an amazing boyfriend. She's got this, she's got her own bands. Oh my gosh, like this, you know, and just all being so pumped for you. But at the same time, you're like, oh, I wish I had my own bands, you know, and it's so silly. And obviously, thank goodness through self-awareness, you're like, Georgina, stop being so silly. Like, come on, you have your own this. And it's so funny though, that we look at each other like that. And I'm just interested in your opinion on, you know, what it took for you to be really open and real, and how important that was for you to kind of just be like, hey, I'm having a shit day today, and I just want you all to know that, you know, that is okay.
Yeah, it's super, super important. And there is such a fine line as well, because obviously the whole reason that I've set this up is to motivate people and to boost their energy. But like you say, you've got to be a double-sided book, or whatever you say. You can't, it's we always said earlier about how do you grow an authentic following, and that is literally how to be real. And I feel like I have achieved that relatability with a lot of people, and I know there's so many people who have experienced even crazier life changes and stuff like that. So I know that I am, in the whole grand scheme of things, I am very appreciative, I guess, of the life I do have. But at the same time, even my little moments of downtime, it does feel like the world is imploding on you, and you're like, hang on a second. And I feel other people would feel the exact same. And I feel like also it's something that you can actually strengthen and work on coping strategies for it, because it is something that you can't always control, annoyingly. You wake up in the morning and you feel down, and sometimes you don't even know the reason. And it can be a bit of a spiral out of control. But that's why I always go on about routine, because if you have that routine, you have that self-discipline, then at least you're setting yourself up in the best possible way, even if you're feeling rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So yes, you might be feeling rubbish rubbish, but I will never not do some movement in the morning unless I am bedbound ill. Do you know what I mean? And whatever that movement is, because I know for a fact, if I don't do that, then my rest of my day, I'm going to be down even worse. My work won't be very good. My positivity will fly out the window. So it is kind of that anchor for my day every single day. And I will never not say how amazing it is, and not promote people to do it, because I know every time people do it and they fight through those demotivated feelings, they feel so good that they did. They never regret it, you know?
Yeah, you know, that is as well. I mean, it's important to mention, I think, the flip side of social media, that it is demonized an awful lot, as well as it is put in a positive light, but that actually it is such a vessel, you know, even, you know, this whole podcast will be available on a phone. It is such a vessel for communication, for connection, for telling people that they are not alone. And, you know, I love what you just said there in terms of that it's not about expecting to wake up happy every day, because actually, you know, a great mentor said this to me once: stay present, stay grateful, focus on your routines and only what you can control, because you have no control of what's going on out there, and it will affect you. You know, you will respond to it. We are mechanisms responding to stimuli constantly. And I think this is another reason why your message is so authentic and so brilliant and so raw, is that it is about self-regulation. You're not saying to people, no, you need to move this way, you need to feel like this, and you need to mantras. There's a great doctor that I interviewed that said to me, you know, you can't just whack a mantra on it and be like, you know, I am positive, I am happy, and I'm gonna have a great day. She's like, well, you're not, babes, are you? You know, like, so actually
I want to develop more, because I'm actually wanting to start my yoga qualification, because
nice.
I have the physical side to a T, and yes, I have the mindset there, but I like can open my hands up and be honest. Like, I don't know enough about my mind and my body as much as I want to. I know it's a continuous learning process. You'll never learn. But I do feel like yoga will help me, I guess, even have a stronger foundation and be able to hopefully share that with more people as I develop into that practice. But just to understand, like, I am from a dance background. Who can kick the highest leg? Who can get the furthest splits? Who can do this? It's always a competitive nature. You need to be the stand out from the person next to you. So that's always ingrained in me, and it helps you boost. And absolutely, even in my industry right now, like, I do look at others to be able to work out, okay, they're doing this, what can I do that's a bit different? You are comparing yourself all the time. As much as you say you shouldn't compare, you do. I'm sorry, you do. But it's about comparing in the right way, you know? Use it as a way of not being jealous and envious. That's not a nice way, and it's not going to help your mindset, but use it to boost you. This is another thing. I feel like people who are in the same industry, or they're in the same kind of, I don't know, career job, whatever it is, they don't feel like they can ask that person for advice. They feel like, oh no, they're doing the same thing as me. They're on their own journey, and it'll look like I'm trying to copy them. Don't have that mentality, because I think that's when you start creating these relationships which aren't nice, you know? I feel like that's supportive. And when you was talking about, like, I guess lots of my followers that I obviously do share, and I might not know them personally, but they are obviously in that fitness bubble. They all have their own platforms of sorts. So you're always, like you said to me, oh, I wish I had my own band and all that. So I'm very flattered, but I never actually don't think I really appreciate what I have. And that's.
Maybe you look at someone else and go, oh, I wish I had my name, or I should have got my logo on leggings. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you're like, why have I done this? And you get so worked up, and like, no, because everyone's journey is different, and you have to just trust the process. And it is hard. I'm not saying like what I'm doing is easy, because yes, I do a workout for everyone an hour of the day, but what happens all the other hours when I'm trying to like work out, what am I doing? Because I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just taking it from what people want, you know? I just ask people, hey guys, what do you want this week? Like, that's how you build in the best way possible, because you're obviously meeting people's needs. You're not on your own journey, you're also helping others. So you've got to be aware of that.
There's no roadmap either. Like we said, social media is something new. And so it is, I've experienced this as well, in terms of, you know, really like leap, and the net will appear quite literally of like, okay, I've chosen to not go with a job where there is a you start at 9, you have your lunch break at 1, and then you finish at 5, and you're told in the morning what you're doing. No, I have to sit down in the morning and write on a whiteboard. I think I need to do this, this, and this. It will probably change by midday. That's okay, but at least we've got a plan, you know? And
absolutely,
it's like no one's there to say like, okay, you need to do this next. You kind of just have to go, I think this is the most productive thing right now, and I'm going to trust. And it's like,
it's hard. And people have actually said to me before, like, how do you take the leap into the self-employed world? And I guess I never have, because I've always been self-employed in a way. So in a way, it's less of like I'm quitting a job and I'm starting new. But if people ever have that urge of wanting to become self-employed, or that kind of world, which sometimes people are very scared to step into, it's becoming very more and more people are becoming self-employed, especially since the pandemic, when they started their own businesses and that kind of thing. Even like, I know it sounds really stupid, like I'm like trying to buy a house at the moment, like getting a mortgage. People actually are very more aware. But like before, I reckon like 3, maybe even 5 years ago, they'd be like, oh no, can't, oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe there'd be a lot more
years to get a mortgage. Yeah, self-employed.
Exactly. Whereas now people are a bit more, oh yeah, that's fine, that's very normal. And I guess I am near London, so that's obviously going to increase the amount of self-employed people. But I do feel like if you ever have that urge, I don't know, I always would say go for it. Like obviously you got to be aware, you got to pay the bills, and the best way is obviously overlapping the two. It would be ideal, but at the same time I think it does open up. So I think, I don't know, I could go on forever, but I do.
If you don't make space for it, I've experienced this myself, then if you don't make space for it, then it can never land in the space. If you keep filling it, I went through a period when I was full-time acting, living in London, when I say full-time acting when I had an acting job, that was, you know, then there's a 6 month where I'm like, no, I'll be a waitress, just anything I could find, because it's like, just get it, you know, oh, great, I've got a modeling job, that's fun. Oh, waitress again, that's fine. It's fine because it's paying bills. Whereas actually, when I took the leap and just sat, and I actually did the same thing. Okay, I'll start with personal training. Okay, how am I going to get clients? Oh my God, how am I going to get clients? How do you do that? You know, suddenly, you know, you give it 2 weeks, 3 clients have come through the door, and you're like, well, there's my rent. Okay, great. 3 more come. Oh, okay. Well, this is all right. And suddenly you've got this little community. It's only 6 people, but they tell 6 more people, and they tell 6 more people. And these people keep growing. And just because you took maybe even a space of 2-3 weeks to just pause and say, I'm going to trust myself here and let this come in, then suddenly and I've never known anyone where it hasn't worked out. I think we deny our ability to throw ourselves into the jungle and come out wearing a suit. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. But I also feel like if it doesn't work out, that might just not be the right formula. Try something else, kind of thing. So I would say, yes, okay, sitting down and sitting and knowing what you want. I am actually very bad at that, in all fairness. I am always what's next, because that's kind of my that's something that I'm trying to learn, hence why the yoga is going to be very helpful.
Yoga.
But at the same time, I feel like it's something that you work so many hours of your day, of your life. If you're sat in a 9-to-5 job, which I'm not saying is bad, just FYI, but I'm saying if you're feeling uncomfortable and you're having this urge inside you, like, this is not me, I'm not spending my time wisely, life is far too short to be going for the easy option. And I feel like hopefully this will inspire others. If you have that little voice in your head which has been persistent for a good 6 months, saying, I do not like my life, I do not like getting up and doing this specific job or working with this person, it's not good for my mental health, that is enough reasons to say, no, I'm gonna put it in the back seat and fight for this passion, you know?
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah, it's even a thing of like, you know, don't leave the job straight away, but look at how much energy you're going to get just from researching potential jobs that you might be interested in, potential positions. Like I had a client who hated her job and you know, wanted to get into the wellness world, and I said, well, how hard would it be to get a job front of house in a yoga studio? You get free yoga classes, you do your training, and she said, oh, actually I could get a manager position there, I have all the right attributes. I'm like, oh great. And not happy as Larry. She'd have never thought before, oh, working front of house. But I'm like, it's not about the working front of house. It's about starting where surrounding yourself with the people you want to be surrounded by so that you can step into the next. It's not about going from working in an office to being, you know, CEO of your own company and brand, you know, about, you know, maybe you start copywriting for someone else's brand and then you move up. Who knows, you know?
Just talking to people just helps as well, because I don't think people, I feel like I'm very good when I talk to my friends, that you obviously are going to share their positives more easily than they can do themselves, you know? So you can say, no, you're good this, you're a people person, you're this, and like, oh yeah, so how can I do this, how can I use that in the best way? But yes, I think the problem is that we are all in this culture that we want everything now, which also doesn't help, because obviously we're very used to, I guess our attention span is so short. So once you've done a task, you're always on to the next thing, and this is what I'm saying, like, that's what I'm trying to like work out, because it is a really hard culture to, because you won't get out of it, unfortunately, because social media is just going to get bigger. It's just learning on how to, I guess, notice it in yourself. Yeah. You know, see, otherwise you just always are fighting for the next thing. You never appreciate where you are. And I am much of an advocate of that myself. I have said that many times, which is why I guess it's good to be aware of it, you know, because I feel like some people don't actually know that they're in it, because you're sucked in, because social media is so powerful and it's kind of scary, but it's amazing, but very scary.
Yeah, I'd say at least 97% of the population are unconscious of their own habits and behaviors, you know, and that is the bridge of, and it's amazing actually, with the rise of breathwork, that Wim Hof has gone wild and viral and etc. He's doing things with Russell Brand and everyone's getting an ice bath, which is fantastic. But you know, I'll ask some of my clients, okay, so why did you do Wim Hof? Because I saw it on Instagram. Okay. Do you know what Wim Hof actually does to your body though, physiologically? No. Okay. Right. Do you know why you're doing it? Because I saw it on Instagram. Okay. And so we rewind and we say, okay. And it's the same even with fitness, right? It's that, and that's so beautiful that you're going on that journey yourself. And with the following you've now built, can take so many people on that journey with you into self-awareness of, you know, you wouldn't buy a train ticket without knowing the beginning destination and the place you're going to. So why on earth would you do a fitness workout that, you know, you've kind of just seen and gone, that looks nice, without thinking, okay, but let me just, again, this woman who's basically the South African Beyonce, she's a doctor, she's amazing, Dr. Ilamanga, talks about head intelligence, check in with my IQ, check in with my EQ, my heart intelligence. Okay, she said, it takes 2 minutes, 1 minute here, 1 minute here, what do I need? Okay, I'm not feeling great today, need to go a little bit gentler. Okay, I can select the workout, I know why I'm doing it, the intention's stronger, and I feel good for it, rather than just sort of falling, like, you know, belly flopping into this random thing. Do you ever find with, you said if you've previously, and it's amazing, you've got the awareness, you're working on it previously, then did you get overwhelmed at times?
Absolutely. I guess my fitness journey, I've probably said it from a bad, not bad, I mean, because I'm saying it now where I'm very comfortable in the fitness world. But of course, there were stages when you're going into the fitness industry, when I'm taking it back to dancing specifically. Of course, my relationship with fitness, then I've been in a bit of a roller coaster. I've never had anything very severe, but at the same time, it's very much of your mindset of why, what you were saying earlier, the reasons why you do it. And like I said, dancing, let's be honest, you're surrounded by mirrors, you're wearing very tight clothing, you're getting told by teachers you need to eat oranges for Christmas, and you're saying your thighs are too wobbly, and you're constantly getting people saying you're this, that, the other, you need to be more this, you're never perfect, you're never right. Of course not. So when you're ingrained in that from a very young age, it can be very damaging, and which is why loads of people in this industry do suffer from mental health problems, and I'm not even surprised. But at the same time, I am very appreciative of having that background, because wow, it teaches you mental strength like nothing else. And it will be the same as acting, I'm very sure. Like, you are just stripped to bare minimum. Like, you are so exposed and you are always out of your comfort zone. And as much as you hate it at the time, looking back on it, and I really do say this, yes, I have bad memories, but in all fairness, I actually think I've actually grown more because of it. So I actually get more positive out of it than I thought I ever would, you know, in ways that I didn't actually realize, because obviously you're there to get a job. That's all you think about. When actually you don't think about the actual mind journey you've been on when you've been pushed to the limits. I always feel like that everyone says about like sport, how hard sport is, but I'm like, no one will realize how, I think to this day, the performing industry is by far the hardest industries out there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you know, I started musical theatre, so I did the 4 years of training of the ballet into jazz into tap into God knows what else, of like, why is it 6 o'clock and I'm only just going into my final jazz class, you know, of my legs are going to fall off, and all of the leotards and the everything. And you know, I've been there as well, and it's, you know, that, and I know you've been in the modeling industry as well. All of it, you know, of standing in a casting going, I thought I was kind of tall.
Yes. I did wear my hair a little bit higher to help.
Yeah, I thought I was kind of tall, but not. And it's an incredibly, you know, if you can move through it in a supportive, consciously aware place, which I feel like we are getting to now, and especially as women, there's this evolution coming back where women are coming back together. It's not woman against woman anymore. It's like, hey, you look really great today, and I hope you have a great, you do a great job. You know, it is, I cannot wait to see the day when, and I hope it's happening right now, I hope it is, that someone is in an audition, loses the role to that person and goes, it was such a pleasure to lose that role to you. Well done. What a pleasure it was to go through that audition process with you. You are so deserving of this. And I hope, you know, what a ride. Well done. You know, because I promise you then, if you are, you know, keeping that within yourself, not only are you going to feel better, you're probably going to book that next audition that you go to. Because I'm realizing that people didn't book that job. It has nothing to do with them, because you're fitting an idea in someone else's mind. And this comes back to your point of fitness. Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why people are always like, so how do I get abs? How do I lose this? I don't know, my bingo wings. I'm like, just take that all out of any process right now. If you just know about your why, and you know that why is more than just a aesthetic goal, that's when you build those healthy habits, and that's when you have longevity in this wellness, a lifestyle that you've created, and then that's when you actually reap the rewards. Yeah, the aesthetic goals might come with it, what a bonus, but more than ever, the mind is why you need to do it. Also, I say need, it's very aggressive, but you know what I mean. It is a fundamental, it's as important as brushing your teeth in the morning. That's all I think. I really do believe that. I know that, you know, and as you do.
How do you want to look? No, how do you want to feel? Right? It's because if you go after the passion literally before the pounds, in terms of losing pounds, you know, those pounds will drop off, and you will look in the mirror one day and go, oh shit, I look amazing. And you won't realize, you know, rather than obsessively looking in the mirror, it's actually 10 times harder to lose any fat, because if you're in a state of stress, your body will hold on to fat more readily because it's in a state of survival. Absolutely. You know, and it's this loop that never works.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I kind of want to circle back to the yoga, because this is really interesting in terms of everything you've been speaking about. Yoga means obviously to yoke. It means unity. Unity in yoga of both body and mind, but also unity of people, because when people are in a room moving together and sharing this kind of why, it's something freaking powerful happens. And that includes whether they're all at home but tuning into an Instagram live, tuning into a platform or whatever. And I think that's a wonderful thing to start that journey for yourself as well, in finding that marrying of the two, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I am very excited, because also, like you were saying earlier, that Instagram is a highlight reel, and it obviously shows all the best poses, all the craziest workouts, all that kind of stuff. So it's actually quite nice to be open with the community I built and say, hey guys, I'm trying something new. I want to make many mistakes. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to share it with you guys, because hopefully it makes it more inclusive, in the sense of like, it might actually enlighten someone else thinking, oh, I would love to try that. And starting from the, yes, okay, I've got the foundation, of course, the physical, but like I said, it's all about, for me, it is the mental journey that I'm most excited about. I'm not the greatest head stander, hand stander, amazing poses, but it's not about that. It really isn't. And the more classes I do realize how, yes, you don't have to push your body to the nth degree. You just go by how you're feeling. And that is something that I'm really, I have to be honest, I've never meditated before. I have tried, and I just go, oh, got it, I'm gonna go for a run. And that for me is my meditation, because I think I'm still in my own thoughts, but I'm not good enough to just sit. And this is what I'm really gonna tackle with, and that's why I want to be so open about this, because hopefully that it does I guess create that authenticity. Like, I don't know everything, but I am very excited. I listen to more podcasts about it, and I just think it's an incredible world that I just feel like I haven't touched. I really haven't.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful world as well, you know, like it's
like you have it by the way you speak and the analogies you use. I just feel like you have that to a T. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to come out with these kind of things and really mean it. Do you know what I mean? Not just say these things. But yeah, I am excited.
It's a beautiful journey. You know, I'm just completing my yoga teacher training now, but I've been practicing for years, and it's the most amazing journey. And when you go into the whole why behind yoga, you know, the most common is something called Patanjali's Eightfold Path. It's fascinating what you're saying, because pranayama, which is just the retention and the movement of breath, comes after asana, which is posture, right? And you do the whole point of yoga. If you look into sort of the ancient texts of yoga, actually the whole point of yoga is breath and movement, but you do the movement to be able to find the stillness. And that is the whole point. And I think that is something people often, they think, okay, no, meditate now. And you actually see them and they're kind of like this, and meditating. Whereas actually, you know, walking is the most beautiful form of yoga that exists. Like, you know, running is a form of meditation. Why does it have to be sat in a lotus pose? You know, it doesn't need to be. It's that amazing thing of, but going back, I really love what you said in terms of, you know, I want to be able to sit in the stillness. I want to be able to sit in my own space and to use all that juice and that vibrancy of the movement that you've done. And I'm sure you'll end up creating your own type of yoga, you know, your own fusion, amazing flow thing that's going to be amazing.
Maybe if I come back in a couple of years' time.
Yeah. But you know, to do that, to be able to find the stillness is just amazing, because it's applying what we learn on the mat to everyday life, which I think you've already done with your fitness that you use. So how beautiful that this will now be translated into asana, and you know, and going more into the whole body mind connection. Okay, because it's going into, right, how am I moving, why am I moving, what am I feeling, channeling, and it's going to be great. I'm excited for you.
Oh, thank you. I really am. So hopefully starting this year. So there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last kind of thing. I want to talk about a little bit about women, female health, etc. Is this something that is on your radar? Is this something, for example, the menstrual cycle or menstrual cycle awareness or anything kind of like that in terms of female specific? Is this something that you have your sights on, and your workouts? Your audience, a lot of them female, or we got some guys in there? I kind of sense that it's a kind of a girl gang kind of thing, but I may be wrong.
Girl gang thing. There are guys in there, but yes, the girls are the ones that talk the most. Put it that way. They share things the most, which is very normal. But yes, no, it's so important, and this is also something that I am learning more about, because I feel like, actually, in all fairness, not many people talk about it anyway, really. In the whole grand scheme of things about menstrual cycle and even menopause, it's something that's not really talked about, or there's not enough. There is enough evidence, of course, but it's just like making sure you collect the right bits of evidence, you know.
Oh, that's hard. I mean, there's really, like, it's really denied in science. A lot of people, you know, for years and years and years, they said, oh, we don't do studies on women because they're an anomaly. The menstrual cycle is too complicated. Hormones are too complicated.
Yes.
We're only just getting past that in the last 50 years.
Which is crazy, which is actually crazy when you think about it. But no, I do always say, like, you need to, this is another thing about understanding your mind. It goes back to that and knowing, okay, how, like you're saying, how am I feeling today? What is my mood levels? And sometimes, you know, when you wake up and you feel rubbish, sometimes it's already explained, like, oh, it's time my period today. There you go. And instantly you're like, oh, now I feel stress-free. I got a reason. I got a why. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
So, yeah. And I feel like, I guess with my mum at the moment, actually, I'm doing more strength stuff with her because she is going through the menopause and she needs to understand, because she doesn't have the innate fitness background that I have grown up with. So for her, she's still working things out, which is why she was doing like HIIT stuff. But actually, in all fairness, she doesn't need to do that. She needs to do strength, which is obviously, it just builds obviously what you're saying about everything, about how important it is for bone density and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like the more you talk about it and the more you ask, I do it on my community page, a lot of people are like, can you do some actual menopause specific workouts and that kind of thing? So it actually makes people feel more involved rather than, what you're saying, feel like an anomaly, feel like you can't ask about things because it's a bit embarrassing. Do you know what I mean? It takes that away, which is very, very nice, which is why this community, when you're in it, is very nice, because you don't have that judgment, because you're all in there for the same reason, in one shape or form. But I guess women in general, I do feel like it isn't, I do hope that people do feel more open about things. I do feel like they are. But like I said, everyone's social media page is very different. Mine is filled with wellness and screaming and shouting, whereas I'm very aware someone else's will just be dogs and funny videos, which when they won't feel like they're supported. Do you know what I mean? So it is very difficult to know what everyone is seeing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do yourself, but you don't really know how much is being, because you say like, I haven't got a massive social media platform. I have an okay size, but it's nothing in comparison to the whole grand scheme of things. So I am only reaching an inch, not even that, of people, even in the area I live in. So yes. And like you were saying about the support of women, I do feel like that is becoming more of a thing, because I see it all the time. Like, just the body image in itself is insanely supportive. And yes, there's still a way to go, because it always takes time, but the voice is being heard for once, which is the best thing and the most important thing. And yes, I am sitting here as a white woman, and I'm not even going to be able to even put my position in someone who has an ethnic background of sorts. So like I said, again, like I will be naive in that context. So I can't speak for everyone. I'm just speaking for myself. So yeah, no, and I feel like even I am very I'm surrounded by a lot of women who have businesses, which is also really nice and supportive, and it's quite inspiring, because it shows that you can do it. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be a crazy maths person. You could be, but like I'm just trying to say is like, you don't need to be the woman that has all the assets. You use other people to help you.
Yes.
So I do hope that also inspires others, that you don't have to have the whole setup to be able to go, right, now is the time to start. You actually start and then you get it as you go. Yeah. You don't know what you're doing, like we said earlier.
Yeah, 100%, you know, and that's like, winging it is, you know, what you're literally taught how to do in the world of performing, is how to completely look as if you know exactly what you're doing, when actually you're probably still half figuring it out in your head. And that really transposes into life. And I did actually want to quickly touch on the fact, because I know that you have an amazing whole protein thing, and you're such an advocate of, as well as a woman, fueling yourself. I know we talked about before the dancers world of that sometimes unhealthy habits are encouraged, to then really on your platform really encourage women to fuel properly, because actually, you know, and I know I think you've spoken about this before, how, you know, you will actually put on weight by having unhealthy up and down eating habits. It will throw your metabolism out. And so by having a consistent, nice routine, good fueling for your running or whatever you're doing, or your fitness, is so important. So, you know, what is the protein thing? It's a belt, is it Beltar, or how do I pronounce it?
Belter, but Belter. Yes, that's just a protein oat.
Nice.
And company thing. But I guess like what I do want to probably say is that people try and make things very complicated.
Yes.
And I think that's what pushes people away, and they think, oh God, no, I can't do that. Oh, that's far too hard. And they buy all these ingredients, they don't know how to pronounce the word, and they don't even know why they bought them, just because that person's got it. So I feel like it's about exercise, it's about everything really in life. If you do things consistently and in a balanced way, then it's going to be sustainable and you'll be able to reap the rewards. Like, you don't have to be a fancy chef to eat well. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to show more on my page as well. Just like how easy it is to be able to have a healthy diet, and how easy it is to be able to fit fitness into your routine. You don't have to do it, like I said, an hour sweaty workout. If 20 minutes is all you have, then amazing, use that. But it's just prioritizing things in the right way. So I guess that goes on to about, yes, it's very important to fuel your body, especially depending on how much activity you are doing yourself, of course. And maybe it is something that people are still figuring out. And I don't want to, I guess, because I have a very active lifestyle, more than many probably. But yeah, like, if you cut things out of your diet and you think that, I don't know, keto is the answer, just do your research. Because yes, okay, you might have an intolerance of something, that's your own personal, that's fine, but don't do things, otherwise you might actually end up having an intolerance in something because you don't in the first place. You need to have the fats. And I think fats is something that lots of women go, oh no, couldn't have that. You need the fats, you need the carbs are there to give you the fuel. Like, you won't be able to absorb certain nutrients if you do not have them all. So it is super important to understand and make sure you do your research before you start doing these fad diets, which don't work. They do not work, and you'll go through more mental frustration. And like you said, you're more likely to fluctuate in your weight, and probably more likely to stress eat because you're restricting in certain areas. So instead of trying to make it into a complicated equation, just eat. Just make sure your plate is colourful is the first thing. The colourful plate always helps. But yes, fueling yourself is so important. Otherwise, you won't be able to perform at your best.
Yeah.
And it goes downhill from there. You need to fuel the happiness too.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I love your energy. It's beautiful. And it's just so, like, you just show up no matter what at 110%. And I absolutely just love that. And, it's no wonder that people are so willing to show up with you, because, you're there, you're in it, and you're with it. So let's just finish out with number one. Where are you going next? What is next for you in terms of your journey and your platform and your community? And secondly, if you were to leave the world tomorrow, what 3 things would you leave behind for the world to know?
Wow, I love that. Okay, so the first one, I am collaborating with Bradley Simmons with the GID I platform. So that is, if you want to work out with me with many styles, that is where you find me.
Yeah.
I guess the next stage, is, like I said, is yoga. So hopefully that'll be another string to my bow, and hopefully things will fly away after that. And 3 things that I'd leave behind for people.
3 tips, 3 nuggets of wisdom.
Oh, okay. Number 1, it's my always one go-to, I guess, is don't worry about motivation, work on your discipline. So discipline is what's going to get you through, not motivation. Feeling happy is priceless.
Okay, nice.
And that's kind of a hard one. I would expand, but we can't. And then I'd say I would say, if you could do anything today, is to put a smile on someone else's face. So the act of kindness goes on further, because it's like a ripple effect, isn't it? So if you do it to one person, that person does it to another, then the world will be a happier place.
I love it. Yeah, beautiful. Well, oh my God, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing your energy and your wisdom. And yeah, it's been great.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for inviting me. I really did enjoy it.
You're welcome.